Okay, in part one of today's video, we're going to be taking a peek at 5.5 carat ovals, personally hand selected by yours truly. Now, we normally don't call in 5 stones because Daddy knows what he's been doing for a long time now, and it doesn't necessarily take 5 stones. But the client who I'm shooting this for, well, he would have had me bring in 50 if he could. But I limited it to 5, and I think I did a pretty damn good job. So let me go over the tech. We're going to start with the tech analysis in part 1, kind of like I always do. And we're going to be starting with, as I shrink down on your screen, we're going to be starting with ASET results. Okay? And we're going to start with this diamond here in the middle. We're going to be looking at 5 diamonds in total. Hold on, before I shrink down here. We're going to be looking at a 550, a 551, a 554, a 556, and a 559. All right. All of them are VVS clarity. 4 out of the 5 are E colors, except for the first one I'm going to talk about here, which is a D color. All right. So the D color in this lot of stones happens to be the one in the tech analysis that I don't care for over the others. All right. And just to do a simple little lineup to show you here, this top left one here is the 550, and this is the 559. If you'll notice, you got some nice solid reds going on here in the 550. And in the 559, you see them getting weaker here. When you see them going from red to yellow, the next color down is generally going to be green and then white. So when I see that degradation of reds, it throws up a little bit of a red flag. And I mean, when we get down to practical analysis, the diamond is probably not a train wreck, but it's not what I would consider my top pick. All right, so this is going to be since we're doing 5 diamonds and 5 tech analysis here, it's going to be this video. I'm going to keep you a while. All right, so this is analysis number 1 that I look at is ASET analysis, because we're looking at the issues of light performance, and I've been looking at and correlating these ASET results with visual observation for decades now. Okay, when I go to the office light view, you notice I switched lighting views from ASET to office light. When I go to office light, this isn't, when I look at this, if I was looking at this alone, I wouldn't think, oh, okay, that doesn't look bad, and it doesn't. So in a practical analysis, this may show up, to the layman. He may look at it and say, oh, yeah, just fine, And there are, this diamond, this 559, which I'm kind of ruling out at the get-go, unless it's, I'm going to look at the numbers on prices, but unless it's priced ridiculously cheaper, I may not consider it. I may not, it may not be in the running for me. There'd have to be something that would draw me to buy it if I was going to choose it over the others. But, and here at the Distinctive Gem, we're picking diamonds for beauty, number 1, and this is why we go over the things that we do. So, we got a little bit of darkness going on here, but maybe not enough to disqualify it. And this diamond, I'm just going to tell you, this diamond is better than a lot of the majority of ovals that are on the market. If you had to see the amount of diamonds I had to go through to find these 5 for this analysis, it took a good amount of time to hunt these down and locate them. All right, so in any case, we're going to keep this 559 to the side here until we start analyzing other diamonds and comparing results. All right, so I'm just going to move this off the screen here, and we're going to move to, we're going to start with the smallest of the weights and then move up. This first one, 550 EVV2. Beautiful solid red core, edge to edge, light return going on in there. And if you look at all of them, they all have edge to edge going on across the belly. So we got some good winners here with regards to light performance across the belly. Now, just to refresh you guys who've watched a few of my videos on ovals before, you're basically going to have one of 3 different phenomena happening across the belly, all right, which I can explain with the ASET imagery. You're either going to have a lot of people, you know, they learn about the bow tie effect when they're researching ovals, and the bow tie effect is when the belly would have, generally is going to have a blue color. All right, like these blues that you see here on the outer edges, it's generally going to be blue across the belly, indicating head and body obstruction, because we're part of the environment before the diamond. So if I'm holding a diamond in front of me at a half an arm's length distance, and I see a bow tie, it's generally going to be the reflection of my shadow within the diamond. Okay, and that's what causes your bow tie effect. Now, if the facets on the crown and pavilion are angled in such a way that the diamond is drawing its brightest reflections from around my head and body and from the brightest resources in the environment, that's when you're going to get your reds, and that's when it's going to be beautiful. Okay, so you're either going to have bow tie effect, this would be blue. You can have leakage under the table, which would be indicative of the whites that you see in these images. That's light leakage, okay, just to put it bluntly. When it has light leakage, believe it or not, the light leakage also cancels out a bow tie. And when you think about it, it makes logical sense, because you know, if a diamond is allowing whatever reflections to enter it to escape through the bottom, and my head and body shadow are being reflected into the diamond, and it's escaping out of the bottom, then the diamond it's not only not reflecting back my head and body shadow, but it's also not reflecting back any light coming from around me that's entering from above. So light leakage would stink. None of these have it, and I don't waste my clients' capital or time calling in diamonds with light leakage like that, but believe me, they're out there. Okay. So you can either have leakage, you can have a bow tie. This center area could be green. We saw it a little bit on the 559. The belly was starting to graduate away from red, and when it does, it would be green. But there are ovals out there. This is the 559 again. I just dragged into the picture. But the next color down here, when it departs from red, it's gonna either go to blue or green. So here it's departing from the red and on its way down to green, because yellow is the the color in between. So when green is there, it's better than light leakage, but it's not as good as red. So there's that. And then lastly, we want to see the belly of the diamond kicking back light. You know, this is going to be really, in essence, the brightest or most brilliant part of an oval brilliant cut. It's just the way that it is. It's the nature of the beast. Now, after I look at the ASET results, okay, another thing I'm just going to point out, because we're going to take a look at light in the office light view here too. It also shows me about information about it. So in this diamond, there is, I mentioned before, the whites are lightless. So there's some light leakage going on over here. We're going to see how that impacts the brightness of the stone in just a second. Okay. Next is this 551. Okay, let me just get a handle on here. Okay, 550, 551. This is okay. This 551 that we're looking at, I kind of am liking the ASET results a little better in it. Okay, because it does have less leakage. So, I'm showing you guys macro images of ASET results, and it's really honing in on crazy detail, which, to some laymen, they may not see this difference, but I do. But in any case, this one here has more color going on and less whites. So we see a bit more, a bit more blues and reds under the table on the north and south ends, and a bit less light leakage. So less light leakage is good. This one here, similar. This is the 554. So 550, 551, 554. Also, beautiful solid red core. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. A little bit wider area of green at the by the culet than these two. I wouldn't make a big stink out of that one, because this is still one of the rare ones. And a good distribution of reds and greens and blues in both the upper and lower regions as well. By the way, something I do want to point out, as we're looking at these diamonds, you got all these numbers on the side here. You could see your length to width ratios and your length and width measurements of each of these diamonds. So 14.26 millimeters long, 10.05 millimeters wide for a 1.42 to 1 ratio. This 551, 1.476 ratio. So this one, you can see it's a little bit more narrower. Not as, these ones here are a little bit more wider. But in ovals, quite honestly, you can go 140 to 150 is perfectly acceptable ratios in the realm of oval brilliant cuts. This 554, which we just got done talking about, has a 143, 144 to 1 ratio. And these two here, the 550 and the 554, very darn close in measurements. 14.24 millimeters long, 14.26 millimeters long. 10 millimeters wide, 9.89 millimeters wide. All right, so there's a lot of things very similar here. All right, now, last but not least, in this of these four, the 556 EVV2. This one here is also absolute. This one here, I'm just going to say, it probably has the ASET results that I like the most. All right. Oh boy, everything about look at it. You got nice reds going on. Not only is your belly looking absolutely gorgeous, but you've got reds, nice reds under the table, nice distributions of red, blue, and green on the north and south ends of the stone. So, when we look at things in macro on the screen, like I said, we tend to really focus in on the details. But when you pull back, even when I look at these images on my screen in macro mode, I have to pull back from my screen sometime to take in the full picture of these ASET results, especially when you've been, correlating these things over the years. But I'm almost willing to bet the 556 may have the best visual results also. This one happens to be the longest ratio in the lot, coming in at 1.485 length to width ratio. It's also not by purpose or choice, but also happens to be the largest of the lot as well, coming in at 14.62 millimeters long and 9.85 millimeters wide. So this has got a lot of goodness going for it. Okay, and put it plainly, I like the, if I was picking on ASET results alone, this one would get it, the 556. So the key thing that we're going to be doing in our analysis when we get to practical observation, we're going to be doing side by side of well, we're just going to be simply doing process of elimination. I'm going to take the 550, put it next to the 551, see who wins there. I'm going to put the 551, and then whichever one wins there is going to get compared to the 554. And then whoever wins out of that is going to get compared to the 556. And then for giggles, maybe I'll use the 559 also, but I don't know. I may not even bother. Okay. Now, I told you there's one more view I want to take you through, and I'll tell you why. In the Diamond Calc program, we're going to be also looking at the office light view. And the reason why I look at the office light view is because it has it shows the diamond in a normal asymmetrical lighting environment. And that's important because when we look at diamonds in daytime, natural daylight, or anything like that, we're not in a fixed environment. We don't live in fixed environments with, fixed lighting always traveling around with us like this. We're in an asymmetrical world and an asymmetrical environment. So the office light view in Diamond Calc provides that and shows me, okay, and boom, I can see a difference right away. Even when I compare these two office light views, I'm going to switch them all to office light view. But this one here, if you remember, this one had the leakage going on there. And look at this darkness that came across the stone. Now, it's not in the normal, typical place where a bow tie exists across the belly, but it's there, and it's quite pronounced. Okay? In this one here, virtually eliminated. You see how much brighter this is here across the entirety of the belly there. So I like that too. Let's see this one. Oh, okay. This looks really good too. So see, the most important part of an analysis is correlating all of this data. And sometimes what may appear to be better in ASET results may not appear better in the office light view. So why I always look at both. But this one looks great. Okay. This one here, arguably even maybe a tad brighter across the belly. But this one, I like this one. Okay. If I had to eliminate any of these three, I'm taking notes of this too. So the 550 in a technical analysis so far gets my worst rating. All right. We're going to come back to this one. Today's been a crazy day in New York. It's been raining on and off, and I've been kind of waiting to do this in the entire this entire video because I like shooting video outside in natural daylight for our clients. Now, here's the big question mark. How does this one look in the office light environment? And wah, she's looking good. Okay, see? No pronounced darkness like the 550. Nice bright belly. Good contrast and distribution. In fact, when I pull away from the screen, I can't, you guys, I'm gonna I'm just going to make these graphics a little bit smaller. But, oops, come on. Get down there. When I make them smaller, what I'm looking for is the not only the strength, but also the amount of reflections. This boy here may be our most scintillating diamond out of the lot. Okay. So I like what I see in this 556. This is the 559, and just for giggles, let's give him a shot here and see what goes on. Okay, not terrible. That's not bad at all. All right, so the 559, like I said, it's probably not a train wreck, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a train wreck. But from technical analysis alone, if I had to pick my top three choices, you guys know already what it would be. It would be the 551, or the 554, or the 556. All right, so holy smokes. I've already bored you guys for 21 minutes and 22 seconds with geeky stuff. So we're going to move on to practical observation. God willing, the rain has stopped, and we're going to move on to part 2. All right, now comes the fun part. Practical observation. All right, now this one here, this is the 550. Now, in the tech analysis, I kind of was poo-pooing this one, and I kind of was like, questionable. I'm telling you, I'm in the perfect lighting for this setup here, and this diamond is looking pretty damn good. Look at that bright belly. So we got a nice bright belly going on. There isn't that degree of over darkness I thought we would see, and I am right now in perfect shaded light here in the backyard, and the 550 showing up beautiful. So I'm liking this one. Okay, I am liking this one. And as I mentioned in the video too, this wasn't a bad stone whatsoever. So my opinion on it has increased in the practical observation. This is the 551, also a hottie. Okay. I would dare say less darkness under the table. Okay. The brightness in the center of this one seems to be wider in the 550. See how you got a broader span of light going on across the belly. Get me belly. See that? So both of these eliminate the bow tie. This 551 has less darkness in it, but also not as great a span of brightness as the 550. So look at how opinions can change quickly. So I kind of right now am favoring the 550. All right. I do like that stone. And here are two, well, I'm looking at it in the best lighting. We're going to be doing this narrowing down here in the diffuse light environment. So, there are some shadows in the 550 as well, but not to the degree that I was anticipating. So I'm kind of going to give it a hats off to that one. I want to see now. Let's do the next comparison. Next. All right, we're bringing a new one into the picture now. This is the 554. And I'm going to tell you, I really liked the tech analysis on this one. My visual analysis correlates. Very little dark areas in this one. Beautiful brightness across the belly. Nice distribution of brightness throughout the stone. Let's see next. This is a beauty too. Look at those facets lighting up across the belly nicely. So I like this one too. Okay, but which agrees with what I said in the tech analysis. However, this is back to that 550 again. Hot dog diggity. Geez Louise. So I don't know, man. I'm still kind of favoring the 550 again. Let's see what happens when I switch positions here. See if that changes anything. Nope. No. They're both beautiful. They're both lighting up beautiful. Okay. So, wow. Wow. You're getting some shadows. You get some shadows, and then you tilt it slightly, and they go away. But I love the span of brightness across the belly of this one. I got to be honest. Okay, so hot dog diggity. We're getting there. Now the next is going to come the comparison I really wanted to see. But both of these diamonds I'd give it 2 thumbs up to. All right? I'd give it 2 thumbs up on both of these babies. Now let me also say this. No, they're both gorgeous. They're both happening. That's the 554. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. If all I called in was this diamond, we'd be perfectly fine. But we do have this one as well. So, all right. For giggles, I'm keeping this one out. This is the 550. I'm keeping this 550 out, and I'm going to bring out the 550, I believe it was a 556. Yep. All right, here we go. Okay, and the moment we've all been waiting for. Come on, come into focus. This is the 556. Oh my gosh, and she is freaking gorgeous. So, all right, I'm loving this 556 also. Beautiful bright belly. Look at the light return under the table facets on the north and south ends, which we saw in the ASET results also. So, oh boy, oh my, oh my. This is going to be a toughie. Okay, show wing. Here's face up. Okay, so, all right, listen, I'm going to tell it like it is. Both of them, bright bellies. As far as the belly is concerned, I'm giving it to the 550. All right? I love the spray of light going across the bellies. Across the belly. That's a beautiful bright belly. Now, this one also has a bright belly. Okay. Imagine walking up to the chubby guy and saying, "Boy, you've got a bright belly." In any case, no. Less darkness in this one. I do like the distribution of light throughout the rest of the diamond on the 556. Okay, so I do. I absolutely do. Here's the two side by side, and you can see what I'm talking about. All right. I'll see if I can stop the video and point out the sections there, but I may not even have to because you can see it. So, oh boy, this is toughy. This is the two I would absolutely narrow it down to. All right. Wow. All right, we're going to look at these two. I'm going to take these two into office lighting as well and see if I favor. This is what I wanted to do. I really wanted to do a process of elimination with the 4 of these, and then I'm going to bring them into office and then spotlighting. I think this one's going to win in scintillation. But this one may win in fire. Fire is the strength of, we're going to look in spotlighting in a bit, but it's the strength of light coming off the belly, the fire, the strength of the fire, and you got that broad span of light happening across the belly in this, which in these areas it equates to brightness, but in spotlighting equates to fire. Okay, this one here has more bright white reflections scattered throughout the entirety of the diamond. Oh, I love this one. You know, they're both, you know. So we're going to look at everything though. We're going to look at the optics, we're going to look at pricing, because if I'm not mistaken, this 550 comes in less. But don't worry, I'll stand corrected in just a second if I'm wrong, because I'm going to be looking at the prices in a second. And oh, this 556, I got to tell you, I'm really loving it. Not so much as the width of light across the belly, because like I said, this one the 550 takes that, but this one here for overall reflections throughout the entirety of the diamond. It's a beauty. She's a sparkler, as we say here in New York. All right, let's go into the office. All right, so here we are in office lighting. So this, the 550 really did turn out to be a surprise, a grand surprise, because I love it. The belly, no darkness across the belly, still here in the office lighting. Nice distribution of sparkles, but let me show you when I put this 556 next to it. Ooh, mama, hot dog diggity. That is a freaking seriously bright stone. I would dare even say looking overall brighter than the 550. Your belly is bright. Look at the sparkles throughout the stone. You know, pull the video back. I know these videos, they show you things in super macro, but man, the brightness and sparkle coming out of this thing are just off the charts. Look at that. That is beautiful. All right. Okay, so we're honing in here. I do have some spotlights in my office too, you see, reflecting. You're getting some sparkle scintillation there off of this also. Oh. All right. Oh boy, that's tough. I think overall, my overall nod will go to the 556. All right. We're going to look also at hold on, let's go into spotlighting too. I got LEDs, you know, in here as well. It's almost an unfair comparison in LED, but let's just take a peek and see. Wow, two beauties. All right. I always like starting off sparkle, scintillation, blurry. Why? Because that's what you're going to see after a couple of Belvedere martinis. All right. Here we are. Now this is spotlighting. Spotlighting isn't always the best lighting to make these comparisons in, unless you're looking at two obviously different stones. Okay? But when it comes to the sparkle scintillation factor, ooh. So you got the lights, you can see the reflections of the LED lights off of the diamond. Let's see here. Okay, I can see it. So I'm going to give the sparkle scintillation nod to the 556. All right? I saw more brighter reflections in diffuse lighting. I'm seeing more sparkle reflections in spotlighting. Like I said, they're both hot. They're both hot mamas. But, you know, you see, I mean, I've just been completely transparent as these diamonds during the whole process. So you know why I like each one of these, why I do and don't. All right. And I'm going to close out the clip here in spotlighting and get this off to you there, boss. By the way, in the beginning of this video, I was cutting up a little bit on my client who I'm shooting this for, saying he would have loved for me to bring in 100. And while that may be true, he is a great guy. I love doing business with this guy. He's easy to work with, and he's the kind of guy who makes me want to go the extra mile. As many of you are. I got a lot of my clients are just top-notch people. All right, and that kicks it off. Thank you all for watching. Hit subscribe.